Mackie. He was sitting down under a tree. He said, Lord God, I want you to help me with a big, big word a tourist tell me. The man say saying it other place is unique, but it sound to me like he was talking Greek. So tell me, cut and a difference when the man say unique, what he mean? And here how I tell him, only Saint Christopher in Tabernacle a bad man hold up the police station. The man out and bail, walking round with a gun, and all the people in Tabernacle dare not speak. So a situation like this is unique. Come on, get along, get along. I wanna feel him. King, you teach monarch and start in how to sing. You have such an excellent memory and a mind like a dictionary. Your little explanation is so clear. Once again, my brain is now in gear. So one more time, give me a beat of the proper meaning of the word unique. And here I tell him, only Saint Christopher. I just say how we disappointed with our age. Only Saint Christopher. Our next judge views a jury finding a killer guilty. The case or you could leave the country. You will never get the justice that you seek. So a legal system like this is unique. Bye-bye. Every sensible man must agree with you. The word unique in every case means something you find only in this place. So tell me now and proceed with care. Come close to me and whisper in the air. They think it is so unique for true. We have a prime minister that is unique too. And here I tell him, only Satan he works with those who come early. Only all fools day and he suddenly fire my king. Only Saint Christopher, he ain't got no explanation to give to nobody. But if he doing all this to prove that he is not weak, then a prime minister like ours is unique. Come on, I want to feel you. You feel me? He say I should caught up again about this word unique. So one more time I had to speak, and hear how I tell him. Only St. Christopher, quarter pound of onion, campaigning daily. Only St. Christopher, the other fella definitely tipsy. Only St. Christopher, Linty waiting for them anytime they're ready. And all the time this country sailing up the creek, that tourist fella was right. We unique. Bye-bye. Ay, ay, ay.
Sound of the man a lot cut. The man say only in St. Christopher all these things happen. People disappear from nursing home for days. 9 days to be exact. Found dead in the Saddler's Mountain. And the 9th day. Buried on the 21st day. And 2.5 months later, you're still waiting on the police to give you some update on the investigation. Still investigating after 2.5 months. You write letters to the Ministry of Health, not even as much as an acknowledgement letter. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, to acknowledge that they receive your document. The AG is missing in action. Can't find him on the phone. Can't find him on the ground. No return call, no return messages. I saw the Prime Minister entourage on Sunday morning about 7:30 on my way to the JNF to take care of some supervision of the contractors. I said the entourage passed me in Keys while I was on my way to the city. I don't know if the Prime Minister was in the vehicle that was heading for the Prime Minister, whether he was going to church, breakfast, or otherwise. But I saw the vehicle. Prime Minister seemed to be missing as well. The whole situation in St. Kitts is unique because, you know, during the election campaign, everybody was accessible. Now, just after a little 2 years, everybody seems to be inaccessible. Well, I'm looking forward to campaign season, you know. My machines are well greased, oiled, and ready to rumble because we're going to deal with the facts and only the facts. And I will give you the people that has the power to elect or delect my views, and you are going to decide who you want to run this country. As I've said time and time again, I supported a party. I supported a candidate that say they got the answers and they will be able to handle the job. But my good people of St. Kitts Nevis, I feel the pain of the people. I cannot pretend that I am not hearing them. I cannot pretend that I am not seeing whatever. So tonight, we're going to have some serious conversation. Grandmasters had a song some years ago, "Who you hotty hot?" Me not come here for likes. Me not come here to cuss. I come here to start a conversation and give you the citizens, whether home locally, regionally, internationally, the opportunity to give your input. And I know we got our partisan folks out there who support a particular party. I don't have a problem with you dropping your comments and campaigning for your party. Doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with you or the other online viewers may agree with what you want. But what is important is that we have the conversation, right? Only in St. Christopher these things happen. Only in St. Christopher these things happen. No place else. But at the end of the day, we will have a good evening. We will have a good conversation. We will respect each other. We will show the love that we need to show to each other. But in the meantime, if you're just scrolling through the web and you're running to us, let me just drop this clip and let you know what this program are about. I'm DJ Marisha, coming to you live and direct from my bunker here in the Republic of St. Paul, St. Kitts. And we are here to have a very serious conversation this evening. So stand by for my little clip to get you into what we are doing this evening. It appears as though my media file.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Marishall's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Marishall. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Marishall, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Marishall. Log on.
Yes, you heard it right. DJ Marishall is here every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. And we do our thing to encourage and invite you, the general public, to give your input and be part of the conversation. We're not here to cuss. We're not here to argue. We're just here to educate and learn from you, our beloved audience. Let's take a quick listen to what my boy Carbo have to tell us across there, coming from the fountain area there in Nevis. Yes, Brother Carbo should have something there to tell me shortly. My computer is moving a bit slow this evening, so don't lose any hope. We're going to be getting things rolling with our media files in a bit. But while our media files are acting up, I'll say good evening to Brother Bent. I'll be coming to you in a bit.
Cabos, located at Fountain Village in Nevis, is the go-to spot for your Saturday treats. Tantalize your taste buds with his delectable Cabos Delicacy Goat Water. Or, if you prefer some soul food, then Cabos Punji and Fish is definitely the way to go. Call ahead and reserve at 869-663-9694. Then make your way over to Cabos and enjoy the vibrant atmosphere while you savor your delicacy. Cabos, we are not changing, we are only improving.
Food all over, food all over, you got the food all over.
Yes, you heard about my boy Carbo there, and Carbo also takes delivery and organize for your parties and private events. So let's take a quick listen to Sister Carmen of Carmen Caterers.
Girl Sandra, you know where you can find nice fresh local food 7 days a week, one provision and all kind of thing. Girl, where? Right down there by Shellings, by Carmen Catering Services. Girl, she opposite the bus stop. Girl, And she also cater for weddings, parties, anything you want to cater for, funeral and all. Girl, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy the food. And she also selling bites and Sundays. Opposite the our shop, right down the main road. Girl, you could call 665-1494 or 663-6005 to order your food or go and pick up your food. Girl, the food will be finger licking and you get your money worth. You ain't want.
You're right about that. You ain't want nothing better than that because you do get your money's worth from Sister Carmen. Now, let's hear a quick jingle here from my boy, Brother Daniel, about his tragedies he have for you folks there in the Federation.
Welcome to Strategies for Business Success, right here on 2020visionradio.com and on 102.1 FM with business development advocate Daniel Arthurton. Each week, Danny will build on a foundation to ensure your success in business. Being in business can be daunting, and Strategies for Business Success can help you avoid the pitfalls. Join Danny right here on 2020visionradio.com, on 102.1 FM, and on your other social media platforms every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. That's right, Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. The time and place for your business dreams to come true.
Yes, that's the man, Brother Daniel Atherton there in the Navy, the big farmer there. Check him out on a Tuesday evening on the 2020 Vision Radio and do your stuff there. Let's take a quick listen to what my boy, Brother Malvin Gomes of the Spectrum Band in St. Thomas have to say about the DJ.
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're listening to DJ Marisha, playing you the best in Caribbean music.
You got that?
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're locked into DJ Marisha. Keep it locked.
Right there. Good evening, Brother Bento. Stop your screen, open your mic there. Good evening. Welcome to another round of the DJ Marisha experience here. How is life with you, my brother? How was your week?
Oh, good evening, my brother. It's been pretty good, I must say. Good evening to all your listening audience as well. My name is Oakland Benta. I'm going to jump ahead of Brother Marisha here. As you know, we just lead the way. I'm an ex-chief of police of the U.S. Virgin Islands, an ex-senator, and a consultant to some of the the CARICOM nations. I also was a vice president of a telecommunication corporation where we had several banks throughout the world, as well as television station, cable TV, cell phones. And I am just honored to be here with Brother Marisha, helping him with some of the information as far as what's been plaguing our OECS nation. So good night to each and every one of you.
Yeah, Brother Benta, welcome, thanks. Well, tonight we're going to kick it off as usual with the commentary from Brother G.A. Dwyer Astafan. And then we're going to get into the meat of some conversation. So folks, stand by for Dwyer's commentary.
Greetings. Today I wish to discuss attitudes and behavior in the workplace and generally. Last week I visited a new business place, a small operation, just 2 employees. Trying not to interfere with their work, I engaged these 2 employees, 2 young people, and got the impression from the brief conversation that they were happy to be employed, happy to be earning an income, and to learn as much as possible from their work experience, but planning to become entrepreneurs as soon as possible. I was very impressed by their attentiveness, by the standard of their customer service, by their knowledge of the products that they were selling, by their efficiency and their sense of responsibility. I was impressed. More than that, I was inspired and proud. 2 local young people, and they were operating the business, not their owner, but they were operating the business. And while engaging them, I reflected on how successful our little country could be if only the majority of us conducted ourselves like these 2 young persons. Indeed, I felt a bit scared at the thought of this not happening. Too many of us bring our bad attitude and conduct out of our homes and into the workplace and everywhere else. And in doing so, we sell ourselves and our country short. Indeed, too many of us have this bad attitude and conduct, and it needs to be fixed in the home. I'll get to that later. So not only can we do better, but we must do better. Some are trying, but not enough of us are. Attitudes and behavior in the workplace and generally in St. Kitts leave a lot to be desired. Some of you may not like to hear this, but I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what I think is the truth. Here are some young people who are doing better, very impressive young people. I have a young farmer friend, bright, excellent farmer, scientific mind, very articulate, assertive and creative young businessman, loves his country, a great thinker, a decent guy. I'd rather be on his side in a debate against a university student than against him any day. I have another young friend who is a fisher, bright just like the farmer, well-read, broad knowledge, loves his country, like his farmer friend, responsible to his family, responsible to his community. And these guys are not just talkers. They are men of action, positive, constructive action. These are leading lights. Most of you don't know them. I know another farmer whose philosophy, consciousness, principles, and character saw him fight a constitutional case in the court and win. And I can name a number of young entrepreneurs and workers, male and female, out there pioneering, purposely carving out their place in the market in their different fields of endeavor, reaching milestones in their journeys to success, and on their way to having their names etched indelibly and honorably into the folklore and legend of our country. These are true nation builders. Among them are two tradesmen, both of whom do work for me, just like the farmer and the fisher. Bright, proactive, broad knowledge, successful. One owns 2 properties, the other owns 3. So they generate revenue from their trades and from property rentals. These are the moguls and tycoons of the future, as they should be. Let our people become prosperous in every good way. We have to release that energy, that potential. All of these people share some things in common. While others linger, waste time, money, and energy. While others complain and blame government and everybody else for their own ills and woes, and for the ills and woes of the country and indeed the world. And while others, on top of all of that, get vexed with everybody when they don't have their own way. These farmers and fishermen and tradesmen and others of whom I speak are busy forging ahead, creating, designing, reviewing, upgrading, repairing, brainstorming, building networks, laser focused on their missions for success. And they have fun too. In fact, they have more fun. They have fun when they are involved in leisure activities, and they have fun when they are involved in executing their mission for success. And they understand the value of time. Their lives have meaning and purpose. We need to share that good thing broadly. And to add to this impressive array of entrepreneurs and workers that we have, albeit too small in number, when you look at the annual lineup of the top 25 teens, when you look at our members of the St. Kitts and Nevis Youth Parliamentarians Association, SCANIPA, when you look at our youth robotics team, which recently competed in a 180-nation tournament in Athens, Greece, weeks ago, and placed 20th, one of the 5 smallish nations on the planet, up against 180 nations of all sizes, placing 20th. When you think of all of these things, and you fail to be inspired, then something is wrong with you. When you consider this 12-year-old Kittitian girl who just weeks ago competed in Hungary in the International Chess Federation's Olympiad, and because of her success was named a candidate chess master, a candidate chess master at the age of 12, a Kittitian girl. You must be inspired, but we're not inspired enough in this country. Note that chess is taught at the school in St. Kitts, which she attends, as it should in all schools, because it teaches you to think and to plan and plan ahead. The obvious conclusion from what I'm telling you is that the country has potential, a lot of brain power, a lot of positive energy. The problem is that the potential has not been successfully cultivated, and the process of cultivating it goes beyond education in subjects, way beyond. We have failed to install a national development plan which ensures that our people are properly humanized and socialized, soundly grounded in self-awareness, confidence, independence, responsibility, perseverance, values, conscience, work ethic, respect and tolerance, peace living, and so on. Grounded in those things, we must be. We have failed to endow our people with the tools and with the institutional support systems for self-empowerment and success. And these are the very building blocks for national development. How can we develop as a nation? How can we prosper? How can the building be sturdy if the foundation and building blocks are weak? And the sin of it, the tragedy of it is that the potential for a strong nation exists. Successive political administrations have blindly or conveniently opted for a culture of entitlement, dependence, dumbing down, underproductivity, and underachievement. A surefire formula for failure, rather than opting for a culture of psychological, social, economic, and political empowerment and prosperity, now and in the future. If you hold a national chess competition today, I would bet that prisoners would place close to the top. The prison is filled with bright people, most of whom, however, have unfortunately been raised in homes which are often socially and economically deficient, and then put into a school system which is unfairly asked to act as a surrogate for home and family, and unfairly asked to make up for the deficiencies of the home. This is also a school system which is ill-advisedly more purposed to passing subjects, which automatically wipes out maybe 25% or more of the students, which means 25% or more of our people. More focus on the subjects, which knocks people out of the way and knocks them down, rather than focusing on relevant training and preparation of our young people for life. So we handicap ourselves from the get-go. And this is a significant cause of our prison having over 200 men in it today, most of them under the age of 35. Your most productive years must not be spent in prison. We don't want to find out how bright and talented our young men are after they've gone to prison. We don't want them to go to prison. Prison, though it is necessary in a society, is essentially both a result and a cause of deficient preparation of our youth, and a cause of unproductivity and destructiveness at the level of the individual and society. A cause and a result. We hear politicians talk time and again about development, but for the most part they have failed to effectively design and implement a system whereby our best asset, our people, with all of the talent with which we are possessed, are developed to their fullest potential. If you set up your people for success, your nation will be successful. If you do not set up your people for success, your nation will fail. So we must provide a proper system of development for our people, from prenatal to adult. And when I say we, I mean all of us. We can't leave it all to the government and fail to take up our responsibilities as parents, adults, and citizens. When we do that, we will find ourselves, as we are now, languishing in finger pointing, frustration, and failure. And while we encourage parents and adults to be responsible, there need to be consequences under law for parents and adults who are not responsible in relation to our children. Irresponsible adults, parents, and guardians cannot be allowed to feed off a community which by their very attitude and behavior They are cannibalizing and destroying. You cannot eat your cake and still have it. No such thing as a free ride. There must be value. And that is not what we are doing. We're not putting a value on things, including life. Now, with all of that said, most of the young people to whom I referred as the trendsetters did not come from the best family situations, But they have proven and are proving themselves to be exceptional. However, not everybody is that strong. So the system must be set up to save all and to give all a fair chance. We know that some inevitably will fall through the cracks. But for them also, we must find a way to live positive and pleasant and productive lives. We have to. It is time to get serious about human development and nation building. We must lay the foundation and create a revolution to support, guide, excite, and inspire our super bright robotics and computer and electronic technology brains, our scientific researchers, our artists, our tradesmen and tradeswomen, our fishers and farmers, our food processors, our manufacturers, our inventors, our creatives, our everybody. Inspire and excite and guide and support them to excellence. In doing so, we do ourselves a great favor. This is not rocket science. It is very doable. Why aren't we doing it? And it's not that we have the luxury not to do it, We are in danger, but maybe most of us don't realize the danger that we're in. And this is not about politics. This is about the reality of the life that we live in this country. And we must face the reality and take the responsibility to make it better. Thank you.
Yes, that's the commentary for today of the man G.A. Dwyer Astafan. Great commentary. Brother Bento, you have anything you want to add to that commentary? Let's tap your screen open.
Sure, thank you. I want to say quite a very impressive statement. And he always does come through with great information. And one of the things that I heard him, he said clearly, the AI era that we're in, the AI, artificial intelligence period we're in, I want to encourage parents not to take devices from their children, but to encourage our education system to enhance responsible handling of those devices, cell phones, iPads, tablets, alike. As we move towards the artificial intelligence era, if we are not in that niche as far as a country, a lot of the jobs to be had for tomorrow, we're talking our children out of becoming proficient to join that market. And many times, and more times than often, individuals look at our young men and women and look at them on a cell phone. Yes, there's a lot of other things going on it, but we haven't really implemented the training in our schools, open our horizon to what tomorrow is going to be, rather than staying stagnant and stagnated in believing that the devices are only for the bad. There is a lot of bad, I would say that. But if you teach and train your children properly, then they will learn to use the internet more towards becoming the entities that run businesses in the OECS, the Caribbean, and the US Virgin Islands. Because when we put some shame and scandals and scorns to the devices, you push them away. And as these jobs develop later, none of our children will be able to fit into the market. So I really appreciate hearing Brother Astafan elaborate on the AI era that we're moving into. We got to get away from thinking about getting to the 21st century, but not preparing our own and just using the word 21st without actually understanding what the 21st century means. And now comes the new world before us. BRICS is a reality, ladies and gentlemen. We can't dispel it out of the OECS. Our geofencing, in other words, where we live, the geometric fencing of what all of us in the Caribbean fall under, with the impetus of individuals from all over the world, pay attention to what the influence and the influx of those from Africa as they begin to make their way through the Caribbean. But more so, we got to watch what's happening with China and how they have seen and found a way that they know that the new era going forward, they must plant seeds. and must grow. But how are these seeds growing? So I really appreciate Brother Astafan in his delivery. And of course, we'll get into some much more profound discussions later. Thank you, Brother Marisha.
Thank you, Brother Benta. As I said at the top of the hour when I got started, there's a lot to discuss this evening. There's a lot to fit into 2 hours. And Brother Benta, the people are paying attention. I got so much calls and messages over the last couple of days. It's good that some people are crying out who supporting the PLP, want to know why I was playing those old clips from the former Prime Minister, the only living national hero, Sir Honorable Alphonse Simmons, when he spoke about the former Prime Minister Timothy Harris and his dirty ways last week. Now, it's very simple, my good people. I played those clips from the last federal campaign because when I hear some of the things I'm hearing on the street today, it seems as though people forget what we went through for the last 7 years. And I'm going to drop some clips from the 2020 campaign with Brother Mark Brantley as well. And I'm going to also drop a clip where Premier Brantley came down to St. Kitts to partner with the People's Action Movement, PAM, in the last federal election. They combined as a group. There was the latest Unity Party trying to get into government, campaign against everybody else, campaign against the Labour Party. But in my view today, there are people in certain corners want to push the CCM, the concerned citizen movements, the Premier of Nevis, Premier Brantley, the leader of the opposition in the federal parliament. They want to say, well, he's part of the new administration. He's part of the Labour administration. That can't happen. So for those of you with short memories, this is the reason for me playing back these clips from the recent 2022 federal campaign. And you all ain't hear nothing yet, you know? Because going forward, when campaign season open, my machines here greased, loaded, and ready to rumble. So if you all think you're all hearing anything yet, you all ain't hearing nothing. Everything is there. Brother Benta, I got some grievances tonight. I have my own grievance, but my grievances tonight is for the people. And I want to believe a man of your stature and experience and knowledge of what transpired during the COVID era, you might be able to shed some light on some of the things I'll be speaking about this evening. So I'm going to ask you to jump in and try and basically show some light on some of the areas once I presented the areas to you.
I will show you.
But speaking of lights, right here in my little backyard here, I have some problem for the past 2 months. It's going on 3 months now that this matter has been there. There's a lamppost right across from my property, facing the property. The light's been out for more than 2 months. And there is an individual that lives in the Saddlers area that works for Skellek, that drives to the village from time to time. And I flagged down the individual and point out the light to them. They said they will take care of it. And in their defense, I believe they took care of it. Why I believe they took care of it? She called in the order saying that the light by the old inner circle is out. But Brother Benta, there's 2 inner circle buildings here. There is the original inner circle building on the corner, and there is a new inner circle building right next to it. There's 2 properties adjoined to each other. Well, whichever technician came from Skellek to change the light bulb, or the lamp pole bulb. I only know the bulb is changed because it was a white bulb in the lamppost, and when I saw it the night, it was a blue. So I know the light was changed. But for the life of me, they said they're going to call me when they come in the area. Nobody called me. But they came and changed the light that was working, and the light that has not been working, still not working. This is over 2 months. I saw the individual again some days later, and I point out to them the situation, and they realize, they say, yes, they saw the blue light. I say, yes, they changed the light, they changed the wrong bulb. They said they will report it again and whatever. I waited for weeks. Still, this bulb have not been changed. So I went to Skelec myself and filed a complaint. The gentleman was very professional. He assisted me in taking the order. I go back to Skelec a week later. So about 2 weeks ago, I go back to Skelec. The same gentleman is there, and he laughed. He said, Mr. Marisha, I know where you come from. I got to tell you the truth. We don't have any bulb in stock, so they cannot change your bulb. Even my street, 2 bulbs are out, and they can't change the lamp pole. But Benta, would you believe a whole country, a whole federation, St. Kitts Nevis, they're charging people all kind of, I must say, money for services. And it's almost going on 3 months now. They don't have any bulb in stock. And this is supposed to be a private company that is privatized to the government, or from the government, have people up and down in buggy and car and truck, liming with their family, them all over the place, and they can't find money to buy bulb. That's what they're telling me.
That's kind of, Brother Marisha, even in the U.S. Virgin Islands, it's a commonality of a behavior to a certain degree, and the savings where the concentration would be in the increases of the utility as far as the customers will pay more vehemently, but the services to make sure that the individuals who are the customers are comfortable is not a priority. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, privatize is one of those things where in government, you try to retain a lot of your own, your telecommunication, your phone banks, your electricity. In a time of emergency, more than anything else, if you don't have control of some of your operations in government, then you're going to suck salt and take whatever the handlers of the services say that you must pay. And one of the things that I would very, very much infuse in this discussion is the individuals who sit within government take back the services for public services back under your umbrella, because there's a way out and there's other mechanisms that you can use to control your environment. If I am a private company, then I don't have to answer to the government for anything. If I'm providing services based on a contract I have, it's a light bulb as you described, but God knows even more so, what are the commissions awarded to this company for servicing the country with power? You got to look and find out what the commissions are. And what part of what's in the commission when it comes to the outside plant, because you're talking outside plant now. The inside plant is where the generators are. The outside plant is the individuals from Skelec, like our WAPA, the U.S. Virgin Islands, who work on the field, replacing poles, replacing lines. We got to look and find out what are the commissions which were offered and who's responsible for what part of it. So I would love to see a contract, because in those contracts, sometimes it's hidden that the private operator has no responsibility for the outside plant, which is really the bulbs, as you mentioned, the lines and the poles. If a car runs into them or it falls, it still remains on the government to replace. And of course, the employees of Skelec that are outside in the field, they're government employees, I would presume, at this point. And the individuals who have been handling the private side of it is a private company. So we got to look and see what and who has the responsibility really to make sure that those equipments are purchased.
Well, basically, before I come here this evening, I threatened them I'm going to talk about it on my program, like I said 2 weeks ago. Last week, I didn't have enough time to speak about it. And I decided yesterday, let me give the minister responsible for communications and works and these things a call to see what's going on. I called Brother Congress Maynard, the Honorable Congress Maynard, who is responsible. Didn't get him. I messaged him, haven't heard back from him. And I decided, if I can't find them when I call them, somebody might hear me here and go give them a message, because people have to report me, say I'm cussing the government. But I'm not cussing the government. I am bringing the issues to them that they could fix them. Because if they don't shape up, they're going to have to ship out, That's the way I look at politics these days. When I look at what transpired between 2015 and today, if these politicians are going to come and tell people, vote for us, and if we falling short, hold our foot to the fire, we're not even lighting the fire, we're only stretching our hand to wave them down. And they're running and calling and going to lawyers, send your lawyer letter, threatening you to pay X amount of money in 21 days if you don't, and then you can't even afford to buy bread, never mind pay this kind of money. So I am basically at my last will and pleasure with them right now, because I am not going by hearsay. I am here on the ground, seeing what is taking place, know that better can be done. I am of the view that many of these ministers of government, they got too much on their plate. They need to get some junior ministers and hope that will help. Because you could also put junior ministers in place and they don't do the part either. Because the functionaries at this point not doing their part. If the functionaries would only function, you wouldn't hear these complaints I'm giving you, Brother Benter. Because I'm talking just about my post here. After I got that information about not having light bulb, I had someone and me drove around the island through a couple of the villages, and we counted the light poles that are out throughout the villages. So it's not just in St. Paul's. So these ministers that gallivanting are these functionaries that gallivanting are these people up and down in skeleton vehicle, morning, noon, and night and weekend with their family going to the beach and all over the place. They ain't seen the lights them out. They're just out there gallivanting using these vehicles as their private vehicle. We're paying for their fuel. We're paying to maintain those vehicles, and they got them up and down the place. And I can't get a light bulb change when I'm going to talk about it. Something needs to be done about this. So I will be talking about it. Who don't like it? Mr. Holly, tell me, tell you tough. Because I'm not going to sit back and watch this kind of thing taking place and don't talk about it. A lot of them these days, the phone ain't working these days because guess what? They don't want to hear what I got to tell them. But you got a choice. Or you hear it privately or publicly. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not losing any sleep over it. Right? So that is one. Number two, Mr. Benter. I got a call. Well, not even a call. I actually called someone a couple days ago. I went to order some food. And when I went to pick up the food, the individual decided to have a conversation with me about the hardship that they've been having since COVID and the pressure that is coming down on them. Now, Mr. Benter, one of the reasons why this program here is alive today, is because the former Prime Minister decided not to let me come into my bunker to relax. Back in 2020, when they opened the borders, they decided I had to go to some quarantine to pay and stay there. And during my time at that quarantine, even before I got here, I decided let me put things in place to keep me occupied because I've never been to prison. But my lockdown in New York for the months I was locked down in New York, partner, if that is what prison is, and I had so much room to walk around in my house, and a real jail, I think they say it's 4x8 cell, me know them boys surviving there. Because in that property in New York, I have a whole floor. I have a whole basement. I have a whole backyard. I even was playing cricket by myself during COVID. And I was still stressed out. So I don't know how to spend time in jail. But coming to St. Kitts, now I have to be locked down in a room for 14 days. I decided to make myself useful, entertain myself, do a little update on my Facebook page. And even that, when I started updating on my Facebook page from the quarantine, they jammed my signal, So I had to let my engineer, thanks to my boy, brother Ike out of TNT, Trinidad and Tobago. He said, Marisha, don't worry, man. I got you covered. They're going to come and jam you from where I'm putting you. And I'm still here today. November 8th, going to make 4 years since he put me here. He said, I am going to be your technician. Anything they jam, I will unjam you. And Brother Ike has been me since. Now, one of the things where I had my concern about is when they spoke about everything that they had put in place in terms of the welcome center at the airport, the testing and procedures and all of these nice stuff and whatever. When they made their presentation, the task force and everybody talking the things, them sound real good. I was very proud to be a part of this federation where we are leading. But it's only when I arrive here and that glorious afternoon, I realized that things really was not as they say it was going to be. Because I was on the first flight from Miami to St. Kitts when the airport opened. Flight 318, American Airlines. And when I got off the plane and stand at the bottom of the jet ramp, of the staircase, because, you know, in St. Kitts, we use staircase to get off the plane. We ain't got the big things. I'm like in America where you walk straight off the plane. Eh? We got to go downstairs. I look around at this white building, the white structure, a tent, a party tent, saying welcome center, but nobody over there. The place was closed. And I'm there wondering, where do I go? Eventually, I see people start moving towards the old RLB building, arrival hall. So I follow them. But that ain't bad enough, you know. The procedures they had in place then, some of you might seem to forget because you all did not travel. But for the people that are coming in, it was painful. It was a lot of pressure on us. Because the criteria to enter this country back in 2020, you had to ask for permission to come into your country. Whether you're born here or not, the process was gruesome. You had to go and get a COVID test. And not just any COVID test. That test was very, very uncomfortable when they got to stick this thing down your nose. Like in the back of your throat. Some people nose bleed. Very uncomfortable. And you must have that test come back negative 72 hours prior to arriving into the Federation. That's what them people put on us. That was the first part of it. When you don't go through all of that, you reach to JFK. The place up there is like an animal stall. Hundreds of people traveling, butting shoulder to shoulder. You get to your departure lounge, hundreds of people in there, if not thousands. You get on a plane, hundreds of people on the plane, shoulder to shoulder, traveling from Miami to St. Kitts. There are many people that got left back in Miami on that first trip. Why? Because with all of what I just explained to you, you had to submit your COVID test that says negative 72 hours in advance. You had to submit your, what they call it, COVID booster and COVID shot. If you didn't take the COVID vaccine, you could not travel to St. Kitts and Nevis, my people. So with all of what's going on, you have to take the vaccine. You have to be test negative 72 hours before coming here. And when you arrive here, after you don't sit shoulder to shoulder on a plane coming to St. Kitts, you stand up in the immigration hall out there. And again, you're shoulder to shoulder. You come through immigration. They give you a ticket number after they test you. Now, that white building here was designed, according to them, that when you arrive, you take a test. If you are clear, you go through. If you are positive, they put you in an isolation room. That building never used. Not when we came in. Nobody went through it. From the immigration area, we now take the ticket. No, actually, it's not the immigration area, the testing area for us. Once you take the test and you go to the immigration area, you get a ticket. The ticket represents your taxi that you're going to take to your quarantine. When you get outside, even though you just sit down on a plane, shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of people, they're telling you, you can't share taxi with nobody, You got to get your own taxi. Average taxi in them days is 40 US to go across to Philippines. That is what they put us through. And in the case of the DJ, who wanted to stay in his bunker, in order for me to stay in my bunker, I have to, in advance, pay $20 an hour for 24 hours for 14 days. I also have to put a tent outside with a portable toilet for security to watch me. When you add it all up, it's over $7,000 you got to spend 14 days in your place. Very expensive hotel to stay in your own house. That is what the farm administration put us to. That is what they want us to forget. Right? In the end, when I broke the news on them, people start realizing the game that has been played. Because Mr. Abdel Samuel, leading the charge at the task force, and his team used to come every Wednesday night giving an update. And when I heard Mr. Samuels decided to tell people the big lie, that the first plane arrived from Miami, everything went smoothly. A few people get left back here and tell them why. But he's telling the people that everything went smoothly to the Welcome Center. We never used the Welcome Center. I was on that first flight. So right there and then I realized the lies they're already telling people. And I lost confidence in Prime Minister Harris. I lost confidence in the task force. You had people like Dr. Wilkinson and Dr. Laws and them, and my brother there, his name is there. Deputy Commissioner right now. All of them was there as part of the task force. I am pretty sure that they should have known better, that we never use that tent. But they stand there and nobody corrected Brother Abdias about his lies. And if they did not know, they should have known. That is my view. A lot of lies were told to our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I broke it down. I broke it down and let them know they're lying to them. I found out eventually that people on that flight came in here, people from Ross University and other areas. The Caucasians did not even have that entry letter, but they made it on the flight. But other nationals, because they never had that approval letter to enter the country, missed the flight. So it's like anything else. It's not what you know, it's who you know. People came into this country positive COVID because they never test. They was allowed to come to without getting a test. I give them such a time over there at the Royal St. Kitts on my first trip that when I tried to come back 6 months later, they wouldn't take me over in the hotel, I end up at the Oali Nevis. Because they don't want to see my face. They don't want me to report the facts. But the part that really bothered me this week, whatever I went through, it was an experience, and I was prepared for the experience. What I am not prepared for today is I realized during the COVID era, from 2020 to present, many people lost their business. lost their homes, lost their families, lost their lives and livelihood. While the powers that be, people in position, were just collecting the money, putting themselves in position, starting companies. All kind of security companies started because the money was good. $20 an hour. Many of these businesses, hotels, businesses that was doing well, basically had government workers paying, where the government paying them $10 an hour to watch their properties. Royal St. Kitts and Marriott and all these hotels. They had constables in there working for these places, but it's a government paying the bill. While companies charging $20 an hour to secure your people. And the bad thing about it is, when you try to talk to these people, you could not reach them. You could not reach the government ministers to make them understand. My good friend across the Nevis, when he hit the platform, he said, ignore the noise. Abdiel Samuel used to say, ignore the fake news. They label people like DJ Marisha as fake news while telling people the truth. So ignore the noise. Ignore the fake news. The best prime minister ever was the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris. The best government was the team unity. And nobody could do nothing like that. We are the best. That was the conversation coming from Premier Brantley on his platform. And let it go send me a letter because I'm going to play me receipt now. And I want her to listen to the campaign of 2020. Let them send me the letter them because I'm not going to money to pay them. I got me receipt. You understand? These people stop there. The Prime Minister come out saying he paying out stimulus after stimulus. Like I said, why I'm here this evening going back to 2020 is because businesses today are still suffering, are still crying out. And I'm trying to get conversation with the powers that be to let them know we cannot afford to let some of these businesses go under. I remember between 2020 and 24 during COVID, money came into these islands to help sustain the countries. Those ministers of government and civil servants, they never lose a salary. They get paid every month while the regular citizens could not go to work. Farmers couldn't go to their grounds. Fishers couldn't go to the beach to look at their boats. It was a big struggle. Taxi men lose their taxi. Bus drivers lose their bus back to the bank. People lose their homes. Women leave men, men leave women because they cannot sustain them. It was a struggle. And today, you're telling me that there's still pressure in these businesses with these BAM and loans that balloon since COVID. Social security, interest for this and interest for that. Well, I am calling on the government, you know. Budget season is coming up soon. Some kind of stimulus need to be passed to save these businesses. We cannot afford to let these businesses go out of business. We're supposed to be a tourist industry, a sustainable state. So let's do what it takes to sustain the people, our local peoples. The foreigners are doing well, you know. The foreigners are doing well. And when I say foreigners, you all know what I mean. Because the Jamaican and the Indian and the Chinese that are local here, to me, they're local. They need the local shops then. But you got real foreigners that are doing well, big time, while the small businesses are suffering. Everybody today is a chef. Everybody cooking, everybody selling. So I want the people to understand that we have to look out for the businesses that need the help at this moment. Because if they shut down and gone, you know, the building them stop, they're empty, woodlice take them over. We got some people renting out spaces to these people. They're not the people going through a rough period. They don't care how they get the money, they want the rent. But when the people can't pay the rent and they shut down the place stop there and catch woodlice. So why not try and be a little more understanding? Help the people. So Prime Minister Joe, your boy DJ Marisha is talking to you. I want you to take a listen to this campaign of 22, because I hear it from your mouth, you know. Nobody tell me this now, Prime Minister Joe. I hear you say last week that the Premier of Navies approach you, approach your cabinet, approach the government for money to expand the Van Samry Airport, and you all already approved it. That was a very quick approval, Mr. Prime Minister. Marisha is very disappointed in that very quick approval. And I have to let you know. Because the amount of wasted that Timothy said he sent across, the amount of money waste, you need to investigate things before you release any more money across them. Take care of the people. If you wanted all the stimulus for the people, I could work with that, Mr. Prime Minister. I cannot work with you putting money into the Vance Armory at this time. I cannot work with you putting money into the Alexandria Hospital at this time. Because if you check the budget for the past couple of years, the budget will show you that money was appropriated for these things, you know. Monies was appropriated in the NIA budget for these projects. So where is the money? Where it went? This is what I am talking about, Mr. Prime Minister. This love bug business I got going on, I got a problem with that. I want some relief for the people. The other stuff we could deal with later. I was made to understand that a minister that lost his seat over there was given an opportunity to be a consultant. I think they say an investment consultant. I don't know the exact word. So when I send the letter, put in the correct thing for me. But they was paid a salary as a consultant advisor. Consultant advisor to the Premier. That person was responsible, or maybe still responsible, for the expansion of the airport. And I have the information because I took it down from YouTube, so I know I'm not wrong. There was several consultations on Nevis with some investor and some company that is in the process of developing the airport. So if things went bad, find out what's going on before you go pump money into the Van Samry Airport, Mr. Prime Minister. Pump money into the people of Nevis. Pump money into the people of St. Kitts. Because once money is in the economy, is going to spin. Everybody going to benefit by the Prime Minister. So whoever is advising you, you need to advise them to take a break. And if you're not listening to your advisors and they're giving you different advice like I'm giving you, start listening to them, Mr. Prime Minister. Because these actions are not adding up. These things are not adding up. So my good people, whether you all like it or not, this is what transpired in 2020. This was Premier Brantley campaigning for unity. And I hope, and many of you say you all didn't hear clips of me playing all this time, I hope you can all hear this one tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by expressing my absolute delight at being back here in St. Kitts for purposes of this launch. It seemed like only yesterday that we were at Greenlands Park, bringing life to something called Team Unity that so many people said was impossible. For the first time in the history of this country, political parties with different viewpoints, even persons who had hitherto been opposed to each other, came together in unity. And since that time, we have succeeded even beyond our wildest imaginations in transforming the country of St. Kitts and Nevis. They said it wouldn't last, they said it couldn't happen, but unity not only happened, it has lasted and it has grown even stronger. Now we have come over from Nevis this evening, just as we did those years ago at Greenlands Park, to indicate to the good people of St. Kitts and to the wider Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis that we of the Concerned Citizens Movement are as committed now as we were then to this unity administration. It is important for us not to turn back now. It is important for us to keep the momentum that this unity administration has had. And ladies and gentlemen, let us be honest with ourselves. Let us be fair in our analysis and our assessment. On any standard, using any yardstick, unity has been a tremendous success for St. Kitts and Nevis. Whether it is the issue of crime, whether it is the economy, whether it is the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis, whether it is in our foreign affairs and our restoration of the good and decent name of St. Kitts and Nevis, on any analysis using any yardstick, in 5 short years, Team Unity has transformed the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I would want, in my short time here at the podium, to express my gratitude to the Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, for his leadership, and to all of our colleagues who have, through thick and thin, maintained the course, stayed the course in the cause of unity. And that is why we have been able to prove the naysayers wrong. That is why we have been able to maintain our position and to lead this country in such a way that the people of our nation are better off today than they were yesterday. I have not come tonight to talk about the past, because I believe that we ought to let the dead bury the dead. So it is not for me to talk about Labour and NRP. If you are ahead in the race, no need to look back. We are now concerned about the next term for unity and what it is we shall seek to do for the people of this country, to continue to elevate our young people, to continue to create jobs, to continue to grow the economy, to continue to control crime and criminality, to continue to give our people hope. And when I say our people, I mean all of our people, the people in Nevis as well as the people in St. Kitts. The young boy from Gingerland, I've always said, must have the same aspirations as the young boy from Keon or Tabernacle. He or she must know that they can achieve anything they wish to achieve, because St. Kitts and Nevis has provided for them the necessary environment for them to do so. And so what we are doing is not for us. It's not for us. When I came in Greenlands, I could have described myself as a young man. I can't do so anymore. And you will see from my beard, I've grown gray in the last few years. But we are here doing something for the next generation and for the generation after that, to ensure, ladies and gentlemen, that we have a better St. Christopher and Nevis, a better country, something that we all can be proud of, and something that we can leave to the next generation and the generation after that they too will be proud of and have something that they can build on. And so we are going into an election. My message has always been simple, and I have done many elections since I entered politics in 2006. Indeed, I was smiling the other day while talking to someone, and I said, Dr. Harris has been in the parliament for so long. He's a senior parliamentarian, but he and I have almost done the same number of elections. And when they asked me how many Vance has done, I said, well, I can't count. Because as you know, in Nevis, we have the local and we have the federal. And we even have sometimes by-elections when we catch people thief in election and have to go to the court and turn it back. So, my message has always been simple during an election. That the rallies are good, the crowds are good, although now we are going virtually. But at the end of the day, what matters is for people to go out and vote. For you to go out and vote, and to ensure that your neighbors go out and vote, that your friends go out and vote, and that each and every one of you becomes an agent for the party and for Team Unity, to ensure that when on election day the votes are tallied, that it's Team Unity again. On the last occasion, I made bold to say, that when we come, we would have 9, 10, and 11. And that with those 3 seats, I was dependent then on the other members of Team Unity to do the rest. Well, we fell short in number 11 by a mere 92 votes. But I can assure you that we have it covered this time. And so, Honorable Prime Minister, colleagues, I believe that Nevis will do its part, and that the Concerned Citizens Movement will do its part, and that we will come with 9, 10, and 11, and we will leave it to you to get the rest 8. That must be our objective, because I am certain that even the good people of St. Paul's must be looking at the new, young, fresh candidate and saying that they prefer him to what was. And as I said, I'm not here tonight to help bury the dead. I'm not an undertaker. I am speaking about the future, not the past. And what you see up here is the best team for St. Kitts and Nevis to take this country forward. The best team. And I'm not just saying it's the best team because I have a mouth to talk. I'm saying it's the best team based on the record. Because the record is there. And as foreign minister, I travel. I go to meetings around the world, and many people continue to ask, how are you getting this done in a little country like St. Kitts and Nevis? How have you been able to transform the situation in relation to crime? How have you been able to grow the economy to one of the best in our region? How were you able to retire IMF debt as you did in such a short time? How it is that you get surplus after surplus after surplus. Indeed, someone told me in the lexicon of the Caribbean there's no such word as surplus, only in St. Kitts Nevis. How is it we are managing that? How is it we now have the strongest passport in the Eastern Caribbean and the second strongest in the entire region? How is it we have restored the good name of St. Christopher and Nevis? Because we know where we met it. And my only answer is, through the grace of God and good management by this government. That has been the reality. And I believe when people go out to vote, you should bear in mind where we were and compare it to where we now are. Because the only place left for us to go is upwards and onwards and forwards with Team Unity. If you want a stronger, better future, then the only way to secure that for us is through Team Unity. People's Action Movement, People's Labour Party, and the blue team from Nevis, the Concerned Citizens Movement. That is the combination. It came together 5 years ago. People say it was impossible, but look at us now. Stronger than ever. Stronger than ever. More united than ever. And moving forward together to take this country to higher heights. That is what we're seeking to do, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I do not propose to overstay my welcome. I recognize that we have other speakers. We have the man from SP. He said we're the best be. We have the Honorable Prime Minister who will come. But I thought it important to lend my voice as the leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement, but also to pay homage to the Honorable Vance Winkworth Amry. He was the man who was there, the foundation on which we of the CCM now stand. And I want to pay homage to him. And I say so all the time. You know why? Very few people at the pinnacle of power, at the height of popularity, are willing to pass the mantle to someone else. And he passed the mantle, and I have taken the mantle of leader, and now he has passed the mantle. And Eric Evelyn in number 10, they call him the mayor of Hanley's Road. Eric Evelyn will win in number 10. And so, my friends, I have come with a simple message to say that it is Team Unity again. For another 5 years, it is Team Unity again. Because when we came 5 years ago, you know what we asked you? We asked you to put your trust in us, to give us a chance. Now we have come this time to say, you have seen us at work. Give us another opportunity to continue the work that we started. Do not turn back the clock. because all of you know what was. Let us not go back. We are seeking to go forward. And the only team in this country that can take us forward is Team Unity. In Nevis, CCM is running against people over there. We don't even know who. The election has been announced, and they can't find candidates. That is perhaps as it should be. But it strengthens my voice and my hand when I say that when we come down to Bastille, after Election Day, we'll be coming with 9, 10, and 11. And this time, I believe that that prediction will be accurate. And that is what we are seeing. Election has been announced to do, and they can't find candidates. That is perhaps as it should be. But it strengthens. You know, when you're going virtually, these things will happen sometimes. And I just want to continue where I was to say that I'm confident that we will be taking this election and we will be moving forward. Because when 5 years ago we asked you to take a leap of faith with us, this time we are asking you to look at our record and to compare that record of only 5 years to what you would have seen for 4 times that. 20 years compared to 5. You know, sometimes I hear those who were there, those who had the opportunity to run this country, and you hear them talk sometimes, and you would think that Team Unity has also had 20 years. The reality, though, is we've had 5 years. And look at the transformation. Look at the transformation in St. Kitts. Others perhaps will talk about that. New cruise pier, new roads, new buildings, new housing. Look at the transformation in Nevis. You know, in my own constituency, we have something that they call a Mondo truck. Poor me, at my age, didn't even know what Mondo was. But the young people in Nevis, now I see them using that truck, and I am confident that because of that investment through Team Unity, that we will have some Olympians emerging from Nevis. That is what it's about, building people, developing people, creating a world that is better than we met it. And that is what Team Unity has been able to do. Effectively, no set of noise and confusion. 5 years. Compare that to 20. And you will see that in 5 years we've already done more than has been accomplished or had been accomplished in 20. We have moved this country forward, and I'm proud when I go. You know, I will share a little joke with you. But perhaps it's not a joke, a little anecdote. I met someone, I hope he doesn't mind, I won't call his name, but he's from Jamaica. And he said to me that he had been here long enough, he now has a St. Kitts Nevis passport, having qualified to be a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. And he said to me the sense of pride that he felt, that when he visited England and he showed them his passport at Gatwick, they just stamp it and tell him, go about your business. He didn't have any money in his suitcase, so he wasn't detained. Went about his business. And he said to me how proud he felt to be a Kittitian and division, having acquired our citizenship, that he could waltz into England. Just today I was reminded by someone that if you are American, the most powerful country in the world, you need a visa to go to Russia. But if you come from St. Kitts Nevis, you don't need any visa to go to Russia. That is the thinking that has informed what we do, to make things better for our people. And the pride that I feel, ladies and gentlemen, when I look at my passport, when I look at my flag, when I listen to my anthem, when I hear the Prime Minister speak at the United Nations, I hear any of us representing this country and see and feel the admiration that comes from the rest of the Caribbean for this little country, the smallest of them all. But the Bible said a child shall lead them. And perhaps in that context, the smallest of the region continues to lead this Caribbean region. And we must be truly proud to be Kittitians and Nevisians at this time in our history. I will speak just for a few more moments to speak about the COVID pandemic. And ladies and gentlemen, this has tested countries far larger, far richer, far more powerful than St. Kitts and Nevis. It has tested every country in the world. And St. Kitts and Nevis have weathered this storm admirably thus far. I know it has been difficult. One lady called me one day, she said she's tired of being home, tired of being in her bed. She wants to go out. I know it has been difficult thus far. And I know that difficult times still lie ahead. But through the grace of God and through good leadership, putting the right teams in place, setting the right tone, being calm, being sensible, being composed, not given to panic, the country has come through in flying colors to the point where, as we are here tonight, we can say that there are no active cases of COVID in the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis. To God be the glory. We give him praise. We give him the honor. But we must also recognize that with the wrong leadership, we could have had different results. But you have the right leadership, the right tone. Sometimes I'm in Nevis and I'm saying to myself, oh, this man Timothy Harris don't sleep. He's on every radio show, every TV show. But that was what the situation demanded. That leaders rose to the occasion to deal effectively with this unseen threat that, if not addressed, could have destroyed St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I said to you, when you go out to vote, vote for good leadership. Leadership matters. Vote for good leadership because you saw it on display during this COVID-19 pandemic. And you saw it on display in a way that you did not see elsewhere. That countries far richer, far better resourced could not do what we were able to do here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I ask you to stay the course, because if there was a test like COVID, when others were here, we know not what would have happened. But COVID came at a time when we were imbued in this country with the best leadership that the country had to offer. And that is why we were able and are able today to say that St. Kitts and Nevis has no active cases. It was difficult, and it's going to be difficult. But I think with the grace of God, and with the leadership that we have, and the leadership that I'm asking the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to keep in place, that we will continue to progress onwards. Calm, sensible, sober leadership. It would have been easy to panic. It would have been easy to throw your hands in the air and say, I don't know what to do. The sky is falling like Chicken Little. But we did not do that. We stayed the course. And here we are today. And you must think about that when you go to vote. You must think about all of these things, because it could have been a different story if we did not have the right kind of leadership. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there will be other occasions. I am thankful that I've been given the opportunity to be here. I am trusting that all those who are logged on, those at home and those overseas, are going to support this unity government and all 11 candidates that we have on offer. People's Action Movement, the People's Labour Party, and the Concerned Citizens Movement.
My good people, that was a campaign speech by Premier Brantley in 22. And guess what? They was able to pull off the win, you know. They took back the government in 2020. Election was constitutionally during 2025. As you all are aware, we are now in 2024. And they had to help them, because the people didn't stand for the nonsense. I continue my campaign from 2020 onwards. I could recall right on this program one night in 2021, Dwyer asking me, Jeffroy, election was just in 2020 last year. We're in 2021. You are campaigning for election in 2022. How do you expect that to happen? I said, Dwyer, there's some big stone across Old Road Bay. You think DJ Marisha could go across Old Road Bay and put one of them big stone in the vehicle, bring it St. Paul's? Dwyer said, no. I said, well, if the DJ go across there with a 2-pound hammer, a 2-pound sledge, a chisel and a bucket, every night and chip off some of the stone, can't I move it to St. Paul's? Dwyer said, yes, you can. I said, watch me. Well, the DJ was able to pull off that, with the help of many citizens, locally, regionally, internationally. But it was not easy. Because a few months later, listen to the same premier talking about his good up prime minister. Let's take a listen. Months later, this is now 2022.
That the government is a co-conspirator in breaking the law. And let me explain to you what I mean. The law is very clear that under this alternative investment option, the cost is $175,000 if you want to access the citizenship of this country. Very clear. So Sean and I are 100% correct to say that the amount allocated to this jail is 5,500 shares times 175,000 US, because that is what the law provides. What I am hearing today in this press conference is that you can't rely on the law. No. The law says 175,000 US, but don't study the law. The shares will be sold at whatever the market is going to pay. So if the market only willing to pay $1,000 for Sinkis Nevis passport, I hope you all understand. And I was very surprised that no members of the press picked up on it. Because essentially that is what the CEO is telling us on behalf of Timo, that whatever, and I reflected before I came here tonight, and I said that might be the explanation after all. That because they are co-conspirators in breaking the law, co-conspirators in allowing our CBI to be undersold. Somebody tell me they must sell it like bread and cheese. I got a call from an agent in Dubai. And you know what she said to me? She said the Sinkis Nevis passport now is so common that rich families in Dubai buying them all for the maid in the home, the babysitter, the person who do, make up the beds and thing in the house. Because they're selling it like sugar cake. Even black pudding costs more money. Like sugar cake, that's how they're selling it. And so they recognize that that is the situation. I have drawn it to the attention of the Prime Minister, of the Attorney General, of some individuals who I'm aware of who have been underselling the program. And all the underselling means, the last say you must sell here, instead of that they don't here. Undermining the program. None of them have done anything about it. In fact, I remember Juicy Byron saying, oh, that's a people private arrangement.
So, that is the premier in 22 talking about his lovely unity leader, the Prime Minister. Well, guess what? My partner Timo has take it, so my partner Timo fire back. Here what Timo had to stay. Timo to stay here.
Mark ain't no good, Mark ain't no good. And every year, the more money given to Mark, the more in the red they gone. He's a bad manager, a failed manager, and that is why he hasn't been able to show the people of Nevis what he has done with the money.
Yeah, man. Timo responded, but Timo didn't stop there, Timo went further.
And Mark is a man who cannot manage anything well. That is why the more money we give him, the more he wants. And the more we give him, the more he overspends. He's a wasteful manager. And that is why he has nothing to show the people of Nevis. And then he won't blame me. Bad-minded Mark. I hear them the other day say they got something big. They got something to talk about. And the two desperate men.
Brother Benta, your input if you have any. Because I'm going to drop to the next clip, you know.
You know, Brother Marisha, and you know, it's sad because this sort of behavior is like it's transposed from one place to the other. With, as I listen to the most respected passport, the most powerful passport, and not even American passport can be used to go into Russia. At this point in time, where the European Union right now is considering terminating visas for the 5 Caribbean states under the OECS. And it specifically goes into China money laundering and scandals. So as you know, where Canada imposed the visa to travel to Canada, now you have the European nations now stepping forward that they're also looking to impose a visa requirement for St. Kitts, Antigua, Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, because of these behaviors. As the man said, they were selling it more popular than blood pudding or cheaper than blood pudding. As the dynamics of the lyrics to atone for a joke, these are the lives of your citizens you're destroying and the ability for them to transcend and progress. What the people of these islands need to understand is that many of the banks of which the CBI funds are in right now are seized by the US Treasury. You need to understand that. And the banks within the United States, based on the seizures, which your ministers are not explaining to the people, those funds become the capital of what's going to happen and who's going to receive them. I say to the people that, as you know, there's a documentary being ready to be done on me as well, based on the uncovering of so many things through the years from Grenada coming forward. And with it, I say and I encourage the diplomats, the ministers, the governance of our OECS, don't continue down the same path. You know, even from our governor of the Virgin Islands, he has learned the back door through members of the OECS how to hide funds. They thought they could hide. But we're talking about billions of dollars that belong to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that are in these banks, right? And how are we going to make sure that these funds, rather than being seized by the US federal government, honestly, for the people of our nation, St. Kitts and Nevis, who are the benefactors of these funds hidden by ministers, that it gets into those individuals of St. Kitts and Nevis, families and so forth, so like wherever you may be, that these funds get into your pocket, into your bank accounts. That's the push that's going on right now. It is a sad dilemma. For those that are listening, as comical as it sounds, I want you to put yourself in a position knowing how you are free to move around with a visa under the OECS based on the agreement, where the currency, the Eastern Caribbean dollars, the EC, are the value in comparison to many other places as far as the value, what is a 260 or 270 to the US dollar. Be mindful. It doesn't have to stay that way. If America begins to see a push against the nation, which you're realizing that if you look at the citizen by investment that has taken place, the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis is way more in the CBI than nationally bond. So if there's a coup to form to come into the country for votes for election, who has the majority? These are some of the hindsights that they didn't have. And it's unfortunate, and I'm pleading with the ministers, you got to go back and revoke some of these things. Because at the end of the day, the back channel, backdoor operation going on that is under the radar. And thank God I'm able to be in so many places and be witness and testament to documents and preview to actions to be taken. I've warned on the CBI program many years ago before 9/11 I've warned on the diplomatic passport we were issuing way back when it came to Grenada. And I'm warning again, based on where you stand, where we stand in this geofencing, when it comes to war, where do we stand? Who will be the allies when we are creating the environment to be subjected to targets by other nations who are building, and I say, they are moving equipment for weaponry throughout the OECS countries. And that is known. And where is the assembly plant for these weapons of mass destruction or any devices that we're not paying attention to? You see how jokey this may seem? But while they're laughing at how much money they're making, they're not looking at the detriment of the lives of the people within these countries based on what's going on in the back door. One flight of an F-16 over St. Kitts devastated an American aircraft. One F-16 fighter jet. Where are we placing our people on the backs of making money and not paying attention to the degree of which other nations who have planned from the yin and yang dynasty to now to formulate a way forward? As you realize, there's over 10 million Korean that's in Russia fighting Ukraine. How many of our people and our defense force can stand up to a F-16 flying over Ireland, or otherwise a bomber, B-52 bomber dropping a bomb, because we are now creating a backdoor harm to a nation that has been there to protect us in many ways and based on our treaty and the alliance? What are we doing? We got to stop the jokes and start looking at the facts. There's too much thievery going on and manufacturing. And like I said, a lot of these guys have homes other places. But rest assured, there isn't one home that any of these guys have that is not already documented and where they have it and how they obtained it. They need to know these things. You can't think that you're smarter than the world when you're shallow when it comes to how you spend. You can't think that. And I said the billions of dollars in all of these American OCC banks that sits there that are now frozen, the story will be told of how the money got there. The story will be told as far as who've been making deductions, removal out of those banks and what they've been exhausting it on, because when you move funds on the wire, they don't realize that's a federal violation. So, Brother Mauricio, I tell you, tonight is going to be a sad discussion because our people need to understand where we are, and I'd love for you to go ahead with the clips.
Thank you, my brother, because I'm going to drop another one here, and this is from 22, the manifesto launch for PAM and the CCM. Combine campaign against the Labour, campaign against this PLP, campaign against the NRP. And now, these good people of Nevis are the supporters of Premier Brantley, want us to accept them as part of a government. You campaign against a Labour Party campaign on their own, because the NRP decided they want to be connected to the Labour Party. They was threatened by the Premier not to campaign with Labour. Otherwise, he will do what he have to do on Nevis. Turn the people mind in Nevis against the Labour Party. Labour was no good. Listen for yourself, my good people.
The only sheriff in town, leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement, and Premier of Nevis, make some noise for the Honorable Mark Anthony Graham Brantley. Tell them we gone clear. We gone clear. When the big blue machine touch on the scene, we gone clear. We gone clear. Show me your button finger. Show me your button finger. Show me your.
Members and friends of the People's Action Movement, good night. I bring you greetings from Nevis and from the Concerned Citizens Movement, People's Action Movement, Concerned Citizens Movement, one movement moving people forward.
I'm moving everywhere with me, family. With me, family.
You know, I had to be here tonight because, of course, we are here to launch our joint manifesto. And I apologize at the outset for the absence of my colleagues. What's so willful is this man called Timothy Harris. He called the election in the heart of Culturama. And I know if Eric Evelyn was here tonight, Lindsay couldn't behave so up here. Because Eric, I know, would have challenged him in terms of dancing. Poor me not able. So I sat in the back and watched them do their thing. I can't dance, but I know how to talk. And so I'm here on the microphone this evening to say that this document that will be launched this evening, this manifesto provides a blueprint for the future of St. Christopher and Nevis. And I can think of no better team than the People's Action Movement and the Concerned Citizens Movement together.
Family.
One movement. Characteristic that we need in any coalition arrangement, in any partnership, in any marriage, in any relationship, is trust. And that is why I feel comfortable being here in the great constituency of number 4 this evening, because I am confident that I can trust Sean Richards. I am confident that I can trust the People's Action Movement, because they have a track record of performance in this country which is unprecedented. That is why I am here, and that is why I've come. So not because you don't see the big blue machine with me. I want you to understand that all of them in Nevis enjoying Culturama. And I'm sure that you would have been in Nevis too, were it not for the matter at hand, which is an election on August 5th. And I have said that August 5th is Freedom Day in our country. And when August 5th comes, I want the people here in St. Kitts, the supporters of the People's Action Movement, to make sure you go out early and you get the job done. We're hearing all manner of things. We're hearing about planes coming in filled with people from far off places. I am saying, stay focused. Don't get confused. Don't allow the noise to distract you. Go in there, go out early, take your family, take your friends, take your neighbor, and make the X for the People's Action Movement in St. Kitts. Because at the end of the day, it's not the hype, you know, it's the votes. Somebody say that Timo used to say he have the O. And I say go keep the O, because Pam and CCM have the seats.
Stand strong. Stand strong.
Seats that you need to form government. This morning I'm home minding my business. I get some news flash, them say they do a poll. The poll said Pam dead, CCM deader. And when I came here tonight, they said, well, this is how dead in St. Kitts look. This sea of yellow that I see here tonight, me and I'll get frightened. I am saying to you, ignore the noise. They will say almost anything at this point. The People's Action Movement is strong, and the Concerned Citizens Movement is strong. And together, we will form the next government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Sean Richards and the team, I want to commend all who worked so hard to put this document together. I want you all, when you get the opportunity, they said they don't want to destroy the environment, so they'll distribute it electronically. I believe they use a different word. They say digitally. But I tell them I want to feel the paper in my hands, so they gave me a copy. But I want you to read it. I want you to look at the plans and programs covering every facet of our development. And I want you to see the visionary leadership that this team will bring to St. Kitts and Nevis. I want our young people to recognize that we're emphasizing education. We're emphasizing meaningful development. We're saying to the youngsters on the peace program that they and their program will be protected. We're saying to those on the STEP program, the PAP program, that all of these are programs that we helped to design and that we brought to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. In fact, the only thing that I can think about that Timothy Harris has come up with on his own is a $2.4 billion jail. And in Nevis, they call that the Harris Family Penitentiary. And I have said that any leader in any country that prioritizes incarceration over education is a failed leader.
They won't build no schools anymore.
That prioritizes incarceration over your health care is a failed leader. And come the 5th of August, I have no doubt on Freedom Day that you will do what is necessary to ensure that we restore decency and good governance to Church Street. You know, as the man who led the foreign ministry of this country for 7 years, the man who ensured that the St. Kitts Nevis passport is the most powerful in our entire region, I feel ashamed of what has been happening in our country. When people are calling me, because yes, they still call me, who you think they call? Juicy? They call me because they recognize a real foreign minister from a fake foreign minister. So them still call me. And when they call me and I hear some of the concerns that they have, the fact that there was a Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali in Rwanda, and the only country among the Commonwealth of Nations that did not vote for the Secretary General was St. Kitts and Nevis. Them not get the paperwork right. You think that could have happened under a real foreign minister? Can't happen. When I'm getting calls from important countries in our hemisphere that are saying that this administration, or what is left of it, is seeking to secretly start accepting Russians again into our CBI program when Russia is being condemned for its invasion of Ukraine, I say they're putting our entire program and our entire country at risk. That could not happen under a proper foreign minister. Sean tell me I must talk about the foreign ministry. Sean, Lindsay get to be a boss, say he was the best tourism minister. Lindsay, me ain't gonna argue with you. But pound for pound, I was the best foreign minister in this country. You know how I know? You know how I know? Because for 7 years, St. Kitts and Nevis was never involved in any hint, any whiff of scandal. Not once. In fact, the closest that we came was some story about who beg, watch, and show. Yo! You see this watch? I bite. You see my blue shoes? I bite. Me never beg nobody. No watch. Me never beg nobody. No show. I don't beg people them things because my mother tell me, work for what you want. Yo! That's the closest that we came. And I said, what am I supposed to do? If a man want beg watch and beg shoe, that's his business. But the name of St. Kitts and Nevis was never once in 7 years involved in any shenanigans. Not once. And I believe that that is the mark of a good foreign minister and effective diplomacy. And that is why I don't tell the people in Nevis, I want back my work, and I'm coming back for my work on the 5th of August. Ladies and gentlemen, the Citizenship by Investment Program, that program was the brainchild of the People's Action Movement. Everything that is happening now in our country is about CBI. They tell me the first things that most children in St. Kitts Nevis say now, their first words is not daddy and mommy, it's CBI. Everything is CBI. And CBI was the brainchild of the People's Action Movement, just like Port Zante, just like the Southeast Peninsula, just like government headquarters, just like RLB. Oh my goodness, PAM did everything in this country. You all have a proud legacy, and the Citizenship by Investment Program is one of them, but let me tell you, there are some headwinds, because the European Union has already signaled that they have a problem with these programs. If we are hearing that they want to secretly restart allowing Russians into the program, I am telling you, there will be headwinds ahead. And that is why you need a serious government, because serious times demand serious attention from serious people. And this team on this stage and the two that are missing, because they had to be in Nevis tonight, Alexis Jeffers and Eric Evelyn. We are serious people, and we understand what it takes. We have the perfect blend of experience, of youth, and still maturity. As I like to say, we're old enough to know and still young enough to do. And that is why I feel so proud to be here tonight to endorse this document, which means that we have now before us a blueprint for the next 5 years. The hype is good, the music is good, the crowds are good. But at the end of the day, I want you to assure me that on the 5th of August, on that Freedom Day, you will go out and do what you have to do to ensure that we rescue St. Kitts and Nevis. Ladies and gentlemen, we promised the marijuana industry in St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't smoke marijuana, but people who smoke it say good. I say, if it's good for you, good for you. But we understand that there's economic value to be had. And my colleagues up here who are in the cabinet will tell you that almost every week I ask for an update what is happening with the marijuana industry for St. Kitts and Nevis. Well, the minute that Timothy gave it to Juicy, I know it wasn't going to go anywhere. Because Juicy is who you give things to when you don't want to progress them. So I was concerned, and that has stayed right there. But Sean Richards has promised me, and I accept that commitment from him, that this has to be at the top of our agenda. We have to create new industries to ensure that we diversify our economy. We create new jobs and new sector, and allow our country to move forward. This morning I wake up, bless my... For meetings and like CCM meetings, you know. CCM meeting, man, that talk for all 2 hours, Pam say 15 minutes, and that's it. And I never ever want to overstay my welcome down here. But I want you to understand that the reason I have made this trip tonight is to fully endorse the contents of this document. And to say to you that we have an excellent relationship. We have been deterred. We have been turned around, but we shall never be denied the St. Kitts and Nevis that we deserve. And that St. Kitts and Nevis is a place where every boy and girl, whether you're from Old Road or you come from Gingerland, every boy and girl can grow up to know that he or she can be whatever he or she wants to be. And every citizen of our country, every single citizen is assured of the full fruits of his or her citizenship. That is why we say fair share. Fair share is not only about Nevis getting what belongs to Nevis. Fair share is also about the people of St. Kitts getting what belongs to you. You know, when Lindsay spoke, he spoke from the heart. Because we sat in a cabinet where we were told this was no longer available. This program was closed. That program was closed. You know what it's like when you're a representative of people and people come to you and they make the case to you and you tell them you can't do anything because a program is closed. And then you look around and people in some constituencies have been added and added and added. Roofing program, all kinds of programs used for one purpose, to undermine the People's Action Movement, to undermine the Concerned Citizens Movement, and to build up. But guess what? All of that comes to an end on August 5th. All of it comes to an end. And listen, I am not asking for much. I just want to be in the parliament for the first sitting. I want to look across and see Timo and start to laugh. Man God. That is all I want to do. I don't want to never crazy. I'm going to start to laugh. Because imagine you mash up a whole government because you don't want to keep the promise. You mash up a whole government because you don't want to keep your commitments to your colleagues and to the country. Greed, corruption, and we said no more of that. That is why we wrote to the GG. And we said, listen, we are the majority, and in any democracy, you cannot have legitimacy as a prime minister unless you have the support of the majority. You are the majority, we are the majority, and we will ensure that we correct the ship, we right the ship of state on August 5th. That is Freedom Day. That is the day that the Lord hath made, and we will go forth and we will rejoice in it. St. Kitts, I don't tell all of you down here that the voting has started at 1, with all due respect to my friend Shani. The voting started at 9. I am going to bring 9, 10, and 11. So, Pam, what are you going to do? Pam, if I bring 9, and I bring 10, and I bring 11, what are you going to do? What are you going to do in number 1? Number 2? Number 3? Number 4? Number 5? Number 6? Number 7? Number 8? Well, let me tell you something. Today, with all the nomination that was going on, I have a little confession to make. I see my friend Sean on a big, big horse. And I say that I too once entered on a horse, but the horse was so big and it was at night. And the fellow who holding the, the reins for the horse, the fellow had a little stutter. A fellow from Antigua, he said, boss, horse not like night, you know. Horse not like light. So the people have turned off the light for me to come in on the horse and then put on the light and see the people. So me say, what the horse can do if he see light? He tell me the horse might bolt. I said, bolt with who? I jumped on off the horse early. So when I see Sean, I say, Sean, hold on tight. Whatever you do, don't fall off the horse. Yeah. And let me tell you all, Pam people, you're so funny. You put the horse in some yellow clothes. Yeah. I believe it is one of the best nomination days that we have had. And members and friends of the People's Action Movement, I am asking you to increase the momentum all the way to August 5th.
Yes, Brother Benta, that is campaign 2022, where the CCM, the Concerned Citizen Movements of Nevis, joined with the People's Action Movement, PAM, against all other parties. But, Brother Benta, some people don't want to go back to the old clips because it's not looking good for them for their party that they support. But I go back there because people have very short memories. Now, I played the clip of 2022 campaign when Premier Brantley was campaigning for the unity. You heard him big up Russia. He talked about saying his passport could enter into Russia with no problem, while the US passport could not. You heard that?
I sure did.
But 2 years later, the same man, the same premier is cussing Russia. Are people listening? Are people paying attention? That these politicians, you have to listen to what they're saying. Look at their actions. You know, I have said time and time again, Premier Brantley, Mark Brantley, is someone that I love his fight, I love his spirit, I love the gentleman. I don't like what he's doing to the people of Nevis, and I don't understand why the people of Nevis are so special because they stand by and accept this nonsense, you know. Quietly, they stand by their Nevis and accept it.
You know, my brother, I need for people to understand, because it seems like it's a joke for some, really. And this thing gets so deep that if you go back in history and you begin to rationalize and analyze, and I want to bring the European nations as they're merging under BRICS. I know people hear the word BRICS, but they're not paying close attention to this. Over the decades and centuries with America and all of what has transpired, I'll go to Hiroshima. You remember in 1945, America dropped 2 bombs on Hiroshima, Japan, right? And we are talking about the atomic bombs. Then we go to 1965 to 1975, when America and its allies dropped over 7.5 million tons of bombs on Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam. And when we do the calculation with that, we are talking about 15 trillion pounds of bomb on China. So as I spoke earlier, when China decided to immerse themselves with Russia against Ukraine, China quickly began to pedal backwards and saying they're more on an advisory side. When North Korea decided to work with Iran for Iran to develop its first nuclear weapon in the 1980s, people, don't mind you don't hear these things, but we're in the Caribbean and we're a back door where many plans were made before you and I were born. These things are now manifesting itself. China is unforgiving. Japan worse. And I'm saying we're bashing nation, we're talking about warfare. And is the master of the chess game as the puzzles or the chips on the checkerboard or the chessboard is being placed. And our own leaders, because of enrichment, have placed the OECS nations in a vulnerable position for more scrutiny. The one into Antigua with 1,000 or 2,000 acres, which are designated for China to come into Antigua, use a part of the airport where they don't have to go through customs and immigration of the nation, and a part of the seaport. And the same thing has happened where they're now going to create their own passport on OCS grounds. What are we really doing? To our ministers, gentlemen, the U.S. Virgin Islands is in within this geofencing. We're within the region, and we are also individuals who will be impacted by warfare within our region. As you begin to see what many don't see, at the assembly of the Nuclear Alliance of submarines and so forth, right off the shore of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the building of the alliances and as far as what is now being transcending into looking and possibly sanctions being placed on the OECS countries because of what? A penny or $1 on the safety and the national heritage of your own people for a moment? This is not a joke. And we keep talking about the Citizen by Investment program. It sounds robust. I heard them speak about the gold mine of the Caribbean in a sense. They know that we are so blasted greedy that we will sell our children if we have to for that money. Yes, we will sell our own children. And they know that that's who we are. It doesn't matter. And when I say our own children, whether you're sick and dying, your health care is not important. As long as I keep making my money through these programs. And this is what has become. But I say to the people of the OECS, I say to every single one of you, that what's getting ready to take place, and God forgive me, and God knows that I am not predestined to determine destiny, but I haven't been wrong yet. And that is why a documentary is being done on me. That is why it's from the CIA to other entities are now looking and listening to what I'm saying. If I could see clearly, and I thank God for my heritage under the OECS to be able to see and be able to predict and analyze and say things before it comes to fruition. When I mentioned the CBI program, what we're doing to our back door and what we're going to bring to our forefront, to our doors, in times of war, what side do we want to be on? And I say to the people of the OECS, this is not a joke. And to the ministers who are in control, because you sign the documents, you make the decision. What are you really doing? What are you really doing? They have forgone the investigations that they should be conducting on all of these individuals coming through. And as he said, even to the maid, even to the puppies, the dogs, the cats, and the pigs can get their citizenship. It is a moral destruction of your own people. You have no sense of your own value for your own nation. But of course, we go ahead and speak about how strong we are. But be mindful, the strength that you're creating of a false economy growth, be careful, because there will come a day. If you look at what's going on in the Dominican Republic and Haiti, so close to each other. If you look at what's going on with the Jews and the Pakistanians and so forth, history speaking for itself. We are now the doorsteps, the back door, you call it whatever name, to engagement that will be taking place. America is not going to sit idly by and let that happen in the back door. It's not going to happen. What are we prepared to sacrifice? What are we prepared to give up? And when are we prepared to understand that we can lose a dynasty of what we have become based on foolish behaviors by individuals who, the things I mentioned here tonight, none of them even think about it or thought about it. And if we're not thinking about it because we're getting our palms greased, then it makes it easier for the odd palms that are being greased to turn a blind eye and continue to do that. I would ask and beseech them to wake up. I'm not saying it because I want it to happen. I'm saying it because I understand warfare as well. If I could predict Grenada, if I could predict 9/11, and many other things that I can't talk about here tonight, and I'm saying this because I can't shut my mouth up on this part of it, because I have roots in the Caribbean. And what's getting ready to take place, the open borders and all this other stuff that we're discussing, and none of us are being rational as far as how we're operating going forward. All I can do is ask for people to wake up. I am not your government. I am not your minister. But I am a person who understands when war is declared, it ain't a Jesus Christ thing. None of our ministers could change that. None. And the devastation that comes with it, the destructions of livelihood that comes with it, is not something that's simple. It's not something you can walk away from, so we give up. Okay, I beg you, time out. It doesn't work like that. You mean you're going to beg for time to bury your dead, but there's no time out in this once it starts. Yield to the warnings. I beg, I beseech you. Brother Marisha?
Thank you, Brother Benter, for that word of advice. And you know, I lost a bet tonight, you know, Brother Benter. I keep challenging and getting challenged that I can complete my program by 8 p.m. Now we are almost at the top of the hour. I have 2 more clips to play. I have to give you your closing. So I know that I lost this bet tonight again. Now I'm going to forfeit to this tonight, but I have to drop these 2 clips. Reason being, not too long ago, our DPP had made an announcement in regards to the investigation into the CBI matter here in St. Kitts, which I think is long overdue. I think they're coming from the back end. They should have been from the front before this RICO lawsuit ever filed, but that did not happen. And then there is another news item in regards to a local businessman, Glenn Barrow, which I have to play because, my good people, I want us to understand, we only passing through this place. None of us going to live forever. We have to do our best to keep this country in a position for those to come. We are benefiting from the backs of the people who was here. Slaves. In a way, I could have survived building Brimstone Hill and all of these other areas I see here in St. Kitts. Somebody did that hard work for me to enjoy now. So whatever I leave behind, I want to leave something good, something positive. That's one of the reasons why I'm here in St. Kitts making my contribution, Brother Benter. I look at the healthcare system here that need a serious uplift, a serious improvement. And I see Dr. Drew is doing his best to do that. And I said, I will do my part, whatever I can do to help him and to help the people of St. Kitts Nevis. So let's take a quick listen to Brother Andre Huey from SK Newsline speaking about that investigation.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP, in St. Kitts and Nevis announced that it will be launching a formal investigation into the administration of the Citizenship by Investment program prior to the significant reforms implemented by the current federal administration. The DPP's office emphasizes the importance of ensuring a fair and independent inquiry, particularly in light of the potential political implications of the investigation. The DPP's office has received assurances from the federal administration that they will fully support an independent and impartial process, allowing the investigation to proceed. The DPP's office, in a press release, said it plans to appoint a special prosecutor from a foreign jurisdiction to lead the inquiry, with the assistance of a team of outside investigators. At least one local investigator, in whom DPP's office has full confidence, will also be part of the investigative team to ensure collaboration and local oversight. The CBI program, established as its oldest of its kind globally, allows individuals to obtain citizenship through significant financial contributions or investments in government-approved real estate or development projects. Currently, the program requires a minimum donation of $250,000 or minimum investment of $400,000. In recent years, concerns have been raised about the administration of the program prior to recent reforms, including issues of underselling citizenship, transparency, and financial accountability.
Cabos.
Not yet, Brother Carbo. So, Brother Benter, that is track one of what the SK Newsline reported this week, a few weeks ago, as a matter of fact. But this week was another news item that raised my attention in regards to a local business. Take a quick listen.
While commemorating the 40th anniversary of Glimbarrow International Trading Company Limited in a 10th October press conference, Managing Director Lincoln Hazel disclosed that attempts have been made to force him out of business. According to Mr. Hazel, the Inland Revenue Department, which had received and approved his annual audited accounts, recently commissioned a review dating back to 2018 and have now issued Glimbarrow with a bill for over $400,000 in outstanding taxes. But Hazel said his accounts were prepared and submitted to the IRD by a chartered accountant, and the IRD had approved those submissions. Hazel noted that he had been doing business with the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and has been experiencing difficulties getting paid. He believes the involvement of the IRD is about finding a reason not to pay his company for work that has been done.
When they did this to me, I told them, what are you calling me for? Call my accountant and tell him, you know what you're doing. Don't call me. I ain't aiming to set up the accounts. So you ordered them okay already. Already audited by Inland Revenue Department, and it was okay. But you're going back now and you say, ain't okay now, 6 years behind. But you ain't going to discuss it with him because you have nothing with him. Where he is concerned, he's in a chartered accountant. He's good. Not telling them, we're attacking Glimbarrow. We're not attacking your accountant. You understand? So, when they come that to me, I officially take my thing to send to the accountant to look over them. But if you have an accountant that mess up your accounts, that's what the government's saying. This is a far-reach thing, because if your accountant mess up your account so bad that the government have to re-audit your accounts and move you from $130,000 in a surplus to $400 and something thousand in deficit, well, he need to go to jail. But no, that's not how it goes here. Is that the government just come in and take Zimbabwe's property and put it up for the Indian and the Chinese to buy, because Kitchens can't buy none, we got no money. So some alien gonna buy, and Lincoln Hazel, Zimbabwe International, being one of the last set of business people, black people doing business in St. Kitts, local people. Let's give it to him. He's standing out as a success story. Let's get rid of the success story. Let us bury him. Let us get rid of him. That's how it goes.
SK Newsline attempted several times to contact the Office of the Controller of Inland Revenue Department, but was not successful up to news deadline.
Yeah, but Benta, the struggle is really in our beloved federation. As I said, we are currently, for sure, and over time, I just got to drop some quick updates and some debt announcements. Just a few more updates, give you your closing, and we're gonna get out of here. So just stand by. Regrettably, I got some sad news this afternoon of a good friend of mine who passed away there in the Florida area. Gentleman from right here in St. Paul's, number 6. Gentleman by the name of Ivan Douglas, the brother to former Prime Minister Douglas and now Foreign Minister. Ivan and I was basically not close growing up. I heard of him, never met him. But how I met Ivan is during my stint when I was promoting vibrational roots. I took the vibrational roots, who is now Small Axe Band, across to Florida, Miami to be exact, for an event that I did at a place they call the Mahai Temple in Florida, in Miami. And during an interview on one of the radio stations the week before, because whenever I do event in these foreign countries, I always travel in a week or two before to do my interview and promotion and preparation for sound system and all of that good stuff. Make sure everything is in place before the bands come in. So I did an interview at a radio station downtown Miami. And apparently, Ivan and a couple of Kittitians, people like Kazi Hart from Old Road, who used to live in New York, which I know Kazi, apparently was listening to the interview. And these guys are always debating about how backward St. Paul's people is, and they're from the back of the land, they're incapable of doing nothing. But if they check, they would realize the first premier, where he was from, St. Paul's. The second prime minister, Dr. Douglas, where he was from, St. Paul's. The talented, multi-talented DJ Marisha, where he's from, St. Paul's. I mean, there's a lot more talent here in St. Paul's. So they're having their debates, and Ivan was the type of guy he got to prove his point. So they find their way down to the radio station where I was doing the interview. And at that point, first time I'm meeting Ivan, I knew Kazi and a couple of the other guys, Bingy and those guys. Bingy now passed away. And they took me back to Ivan's residence. Turned out that Ivan had a nice little home there in Miami, swimming pool and everything. Stopped there, had a few drinks, get acquainted. To the point where when Ivan asked me where I'm going to put up the guys when we come over, and I told him I have to go and book some hotel rooms and stuff, Ivan told me no. He will host my entourage at his home, which is what he eventually did. The entire band, myself, and other folks that work within DJ Marisha Productions, all of us stayed at Ivan's place, not a cent he charges. Food and drinks galore. This man treats us like kings for that weekend. Small Axe Band, well, at the time, Vibrational Roots went on Wasi. So I would like to, I don't think that the Douglas family even realize how close Ivan and I have been over the years, but Ivan, whenever he comes to New York, he makes sure he tracked me down. We stayed in touch until recently when he got sick during the COVID and moved across to Oklahoma. We lost contact, but up until then, we stay in close contact and everything. So condolences to the Douglas family. I do not know whether or not I'll be able to make it across to Florida for the funeral or whether or not they will bring him home. But I can say that for the short couple of years that I know Ivan, very nice guy, very educated, very helpful. That's a good one that we lost there. Now, last Friday, walking to the back of the JNF towards the morgue, I ran into my partner there, brother Tony Morton. And Tony, while I'm walking towards him, got out of his vehicle walking towards me. I said, man, what are you doing here? And he's telling me that he's there to identify his mother. So I said, what do you mean identify your mother? So his mother passed. I said, your mother passed? When? Told me this Saturday before, which would be October 5th. But what caught me off guard, the last time I spoke to Althea, her name is Althea Louise Martin. I met Althea in 1981 while working at the Wynwood Hotel in St. Thomas. Very nice lady, very good cook. She's from the St. Paul's connection here. David Nelson was her, David Carter here in St. Paul was her uncle. So we became very close. That morning, when I went to the ZIZ radio station and was giving GQ my updates in regards to the 1-month anniversary of the finding of my good friend Lord Black in the Saddler's Mountain. After I left ZIZ, driving back down the road, I received a call, and the call was from Althea, telling me she was listening to the radio station and she wanted to thank me for all that I did to help find cons and her love for me and appreciate everything that I'm doing, my works that I'm doing to assist people and assist the Federation. Very nice conversation. And she's a very good cook. She normally cook me my nice chukangs and things. So the only thing that was in my head while she was talking is I'm looking forward to the Christmas season where I can go and visit her and get me some conchs. Well, that was cut short. So again, I have to send condolences to the Martin family, brother Tony and his team, there, his family, and sister Althea. I got some information here. The funeral is scheduled to take place on November 7th, Thursday, November 7th, at the Wesley Methodist Church there. I guess it's on Seaton Street, up the road there. And tributes will be from 1 p.m. Service start at 2. So I am calling and all citizens that are available in St. Kitts Nevis to go out and support brother Tony there, Anthony Morton, and the team for Sister Althea's funeral. And my sister funeral also, Sister Ethlyn Gerald, homegoing service will be next Saturday. That's the 26th of October, over there at the McCall's Bronxwood Funeral Home, 3045 Bronxwood Avenue, Bronx, New York, 10466. And if you get lost and you need to get in touch with the McCalls, phone number is 718-231-7647. That's 718-231-7647. And Sister Ethlyn is the mother of Simone, my baby girl's grandmother. So, again, for you folks that are in the Bronx, in the New York area, the family requests your presence to send off Sister Etlin in style. Was a very lovely lady. So viewing will be from 2 to 3 p.m. Service will be at 3 p.m. Things are very rough these days. All you're hearing is about the debts. I was hoping that I'll be out of here by 8:15. That's my overtime I was working with. But I realized that it's now 12 past 8, Brother Benter. And I got to drop my unofficial anthem of St. Kitts Nevis. So I am going to ask you to do your closing and we're going to head straight into it. I apologize to you folks online that I normally hail up and say good night to. I cannot give you another half an hour to call out those names this evening, but I look forward to next Wednesday coming back and continuing this conversation. There's a lot of information I have here that I did not get to this evening because of the times, but I'm not going to do it halfway. Everything that I do, I make sure I put my all into it. So I'm not going to start a topic or a subject that I cannot complete. So, Brother Benter, your closing.
Thank you, my brother. For me, in all that there is before us, I can only pray. And I pray that the Almighty, our Lord and Creator, fortifies us by becoming our shield and armor. And we may have fallen short of the glory of God, however, He knows. And He remains compassionate, for He knows that we know not what we do. And I say that in a sense where many of us have fell short of the glory because we found ourselves walking in other midst. We're being misled by individuals who speak the twilight tongues that said they care about us. But we're in a challenging time. And I'm saying to the listenership that you have, and I pray that each and every time we come before you with information, that you just don't take our word for it. I want you all to do your own research. And I'm a person who loves to deal with facts before I bring it to the airwave. Make sure that when you fact check what's said here, that more and more the confidence will develop where you realize that there are people who really care genuinely. And we know that there is a time where we will glorify ourselves, we'll be partying otherwise, but we got to think clearly going forward because our children are looking at us. And I can remember when we were the seniors, we were the children looking at the seniors. Now we are the adults where children are behind looking at us, and our seniors who sat in the position are now looking at us where we at now and asking us to take care of them. We don't want it to be the same thing going forward. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you Godspeed, and I pray, like I said, that our Almighty keep each and every one of us in His bosom and make sure that He makes sure that we learn the ways that we should follow. Thank you, Brother Marisha.
Brother Benter, November 5th is around the corner. Your candidacy for the Senate for the Virgin Islands?
I am, and of course, I'm number 5 on the ballot in the U.S. Virgin Islands. But Brother Marisha, there's so much that's going on. And when I realized that not only that the U.S. Virgin Islands who have engaged me to run, as you know, the global market now is trying to get me in their direction. And I am humbled that the world around us has been listening, have not said anything, but today everything is coming out. So the question is by many, if you're tapped by the United States for this position or that position, what would you do? I am still a Virgin Islander. I am still a Caribbean man. I love my diaspora, and my focus is on the U.S. Virgin Islands to serve them well and do what's right on behalf of all of us as I continue to partake in the system CARICOM. So I am number 5 on the ballot in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And through all of the heritage mixture of culture throughout the Caribbean basin, my friends from all walks of each Caribbean island, I am blessed and humbled by their education that have placed me in the position that I am today to be recognized nationally and internationally, that now it is hard for me to even think of walking away from where I'm at to serve anywhere else. I will continue to push, and right must be right. Common sense must make sense. And I'm fortified in the belief that with God Almighty holding my hand and standing behind me and to my both sides, left and right, that He will maintain a civility of nourishing, and mental direction so that I would serve my people well. I ask those who are from the Virgin Islands who are listening, I know there's many from St. Thomas and St. John, but those from the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Croix in particular, I humbly ask for your vote comes November 5th to serve you. Like I did in the past, where everything I said back in the past is now coming to light. But it didn't need for us to go through a period where we had to be indicted, punished, arrested for it to happen. The hindsight of seeing things before it happened, now it's happening, it's hard to stop what's coming. So I thank you, Brother Marisha, and I look forward to be able to say the same thing about you pretty soon. I wouldn't stop saying that every time I come on the show. To make sure that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis really understands that you are, in fact, a gentleman and a scholar, really trying to do right by your people, as well as seeing that everyone has a fortified life that they can say that I'm proud to be a member of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Ben. To stand by.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Marishall's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and a candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Marishaw. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Marishaw, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Marishaw. Log on.
Yes, you heard it right. Every Wednesday evening we are here from 6 to 8 p.m. and we definitely try to keep it real, keep it honest, and try to learn from you, our listening audience as well. I want to take the opportunity to say good evening to the good water people there, the Island Purified Water, Main Road, Newton Ground, St. Kitts. Thanks for keeping the DJ hydrated when he's in the Federation. Thanks to your brother Powell and your team. Well, my good people, as I said, I don't have time to be hailing up the multitude of folks online this evening, but what I would say to you, that the unofficial national anthem of the Federation that I'm about to play, that was sung, arranged, and performed by the late, great, the King Arrow. The music is nice, but I want you to take a listen to the lyrics. I know Hazel will be bouncing to this one. I see Brother Benta in the groove last week, so I know he's getting a feel of the music.
Your country dying and never lend a helping hand. Would you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? Maladministration, wrecking all and all. unification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Can your conscience be clear? Indulging corruption or misusing public office, being accused of unemployment and crimes, or disrupting a citizen's peace. Oh, my country in this harmony, separated politically. Hatred for a brother, cannot love each other. No, I say no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Well, my good people, unfortunately, the saying every good thing must come to an end. And once I drop that track, it is the end of this program for this evening. But before I sign off, I want to take the opportunity to give an update. I love to give updates. I want to thank you folks that have contributed to my initiative in honor and memory of Brother Conce Edwards, aka Lord Black, aka the Buffalo Soldier. That I started this initiative back in September 2nd of this year, by contributing a weekly salary to a worker for a decade. So far, you have folks like Brother Jeff Fritz and Sons Enterprises there in the Molineux area, the Fritz Bakery there in Borio, Eustace Warner's One Stop there in Bird Rock. We had people like Romeo Paris, Sister Gloria Hutchinson there, Smart Fit, clothing store there next to Skellek, Sister Pearl in the UK, Hazel Claxton there in the Bronx, New York, DJ Marisha Productions, Sister Blanchett, and a few other folks that have made contribution. So far, I am able to pay up to date 7 weeks salary. That is a milestone. Putting food on someone's table for 7 weeks is a good task. I want to also big up Sister Annette Morton for your contribution, and everyone else who have promise to make your contribution. My kitty is running low, very low, so I ask that you make your contribution so that we can continue keeping this person employed and accommodate this daycare. Also want to thank people like Sister Cora Bennett for your unwavering support and sponsorship to this podcast. My engineer there, brother Ike, the man out of TNT, thanks for your continued support. My nephew there, brother Glenville Lawrence, thanks for continue working on these clips and making sure that they're edited weekly for me. I also want to say good night to Sister Lynn. Hope you're doing, hope all is well. Sister Gwyneth Marisha, Beverly Marisha, my baby girl, my son Jeff Roy Jr., my daughter Rochelle, Sister Esther, Mokish, and the kids. Hope all is well with you guys. My brother there called Morris in the Virgin Islands, Valencia Morris, the man Avon Brown, Patsy Brown, Ma, Ralph, and crew. Don't forget to touch up my girl there, Sister Ann Farrell Smith. Good evening, and I hope you're doing better. I want to also wish my good friends there, missionary Sister Deborah Wallace, safe journey back to the Tobago area tomorrow. Brother Wallace, Roger Wallace, I hope that you guys enjoy yourself in the Boogie Down Bronx, and I look forward to seeing you guys at some other point. Until such time, my good people, 8:30 and the dot, and I have to say good night. Thanks again for your online viewers. Look forward to seeing you.